Okay, so I'm here with Malibongwe from all the way from South Africa. So we're going to discuss Baby Jake Matlala. What do you know, obviously, of Baby Jake?
Well, EJ, Baby Jake is the icon in South Africa, in fact in Africa as a whole, because this is the guy that really fought very well in junior flyweight division. He have fought quite good names. I mean, the names I can mention that will definitely get attention to the boxing fans. It will be Michael Kabajal, because his debut, his American debut, that's when he actually upset Michael Kabajal. And at that point, Michael Kabajal only had 3 losses. And you would know that Michael Kabajal is one of the finest boxers that ever fought in America. Jake, he was such a great person indeed outside the ring and inside the ring, because inside the ring he was all about pleasing the fans, and outside he was such a very respectful person. It was disclosed early this year that he actually had pneumonia, and I must say the sad thing about his pass away boxing fans is the fact that the guy was actually, even though he competed to that high level, he didn't have anything. I mean, Boxing South Africa had to do the fundraise for him and everything, and he had to sell his titles that he have won inside the ring, because it was actually, you know, the same story that happens to our great boxers, where they end up being very, very poor because of the management of promoters, because of the awareness which is not in most of the time in front of them when it comes to those big monies they win. And it is really sad, man. So yes, this morning it was actually announced that he passed away. I mean, what I can tell you about this guy, he was such a sweet fighter, man. He had a great combinations. I mean, this is the guy who also fought the guys like Joseph Victor Bagos. He fought Michael Kabajal. He fought Nicky Canwell. He fought twice, and he knocked out the second time with a technical knockout. So he was definitely not a pushover. I don't know if you guys would remember the guy from Mexico, a guy who used to be called El Raton, Alberto Jimenez. He's one of the promising fighters that ever came from Mexico. And he actually fought Jake Matlala, and we have managed to beat Jake Matlala with a technical knockout in round number 8, one of the very interesting fights and exciting. We are really sad in South Africa for this, because he was really a great fighter. You also need to understand that the same guy fought the guys like Luki Computero, he fought Pablo Tasnado. All those guys were actually world-class fighters. And he's the guy who defeated one of my favorite fighters of South Africa called Sibulele Makepula. Sibulele Makepula is the same guy that was actually robbed in America when he fought Irene Pacheco. And so he was definitely quality, man. He was quality. It is really sad. The kind of fighter he was not a big puncher. I mean, he was very, very short in stature, really, really short. We're talking about a guy who is 150 centimeters. That was actually his height was 148. And really, really a short guy. And he had 63 fights with only 26 knockouts. And he lost 13 times, KO'd only 3 times. A great fighter. It's really sad, man. And he was also a good friend of Nelson Mandela, the global icon from South Africa, who passed away as well.
Yeah, man, definitely. I mean, my first take on obviously Baby Jake Matlala when he came over here and fought Francis and you know, he you know, even though he was a short man, he was still a man. even though he was short of stature, but a very powerful and determined man, and he overcome and beat Francis Ampofo as well. And obviously, yeah, like you said, he was friends with Nelson Mandela, and very proud, represents South Africa very proudly as well. And like you said, the loss of Nelson Mandela a couple of days ago, and baby Jake Matlala is a big blow to South Africa in general. But and and baby Jake will be sorely missed, definitely, man.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Jake had to work harder than the other fighters. We're talking about a guy here who has never experienced a fight where he actually had a height advantage. He was always shorter than his opponent in all his fights. And in order for him to make the damage, he had to come inside the pocket. But again, to come inside the pocket, it is not a matter of just going in there. You have to do things differently to get close without getting hit. The other amazing thing about this short guy is the fact that he could take a good punch. He could take a good solid punch. That is why actually, if you watch the fight when he was fighting El Raton Jimenez, he was actually taken out of that fight because of the body punch. Raton tried for 7 rounds to actually hit him in the head and nothing could happen. So he decided to go down to the body, and that was the end of it. And if you talk about boxing in South Africa, man, people will definitely tell you that Jake Matlala is one of the icons of the country. He was such a good person. And I believe he also has some educational background, because I believe he was graduated in economics. And it is quite interesting to actually speculate and see his financial conditions while he's got that kind of background. But again, I'm not judging anyone. It could have been so many different circumstances he had to face that I'm not aware of. I'm not blaming the guy. I'm just saying that it is really something that needs to be considered. The fact that our boxers, and it's not in South Africa, it is not in America, it is not in Mexico, it is a global issue. The boxers look at the guys like the Panama guy, Hands of Stone. If you look at Hands of Stone as well, I mean, he Roberto Duran, he struggles, man, and it's not only him. There are a lot of fighters that struggle. So I'm saying that it is really a concern. It makes me feel bad, man, because I don't think the guys that actually go to one of the hardest sports, if it's not the hardest in the world, end up like that. It is really a shame.
Yeah, I agree. It's a big shame, and the boxing world has lost obviously another champion, and a great ambassador for South Africa, and a great ambassador for boxing, and for short men who can show you boxing. You can overcome anything if you really try, and he'll be surely missed. And have you got anything else you'd like to add, Malibongwe, or so?
No, I think EJ, what I want to say is definitely in South Africa we are mourning. At the same time, we are celebrating his life, because this is the guy that has entertained us as boxing fans. He has actually been a great figure even to the youth of South Africa, because I have seen him a couple of times addressing the youth of South Africa. As you would know, the background of our country, that we do have some issues because of poverty. I will be talking about basically the violence and all those things. And again, we have lost really a great fighter, a fighter of life, because he has been suffering for a while, a good fighter inside the ring because he was a great boxer, and a person who was always passionate about being South African, because he has been involved in quite a number of projects to try to stop the crime and actually make South Africa a better country. So I think at the end of the day we should just be happy, because I believe his life was really well lived, and unfortunately everyone in this world is going to have to he terminated in one way or the other, and I believe it was his time to actually leave, and I really wish that his soul rest in peace, and yeah, we will always remember him, man.
I agree, man. I echo that sentiment, and yeah, man, Baby J McMillan, one of the greatest of all time. May your soul rest in peace.